friends, and welcome to another episode of Besties Pick My Reads. Today we have our reads brought to you by one of the people I've been friends with the longest. We've been friends since we were 4 years old, and her family moved across the street. Then her family moved out of state when we were 10, and we still managed to stay friends. And we have now been friends. We're both about 30 years old, so for 26 years. And that is my friend Shanna. Shanna and I have very different taste. So I gave her the opportunity for this video to torture me a little. She is into romantasy and dark romance, or like her prime reading tastes. And I was like, here's my whole physical TBR. You have to pick 3 books. I will allow you 1 pick that's not on my TBR. It either has to be available on KU, or I have to be able to read it on Libby, or I'll have to wait for it on Libby, and it can be whatever. And she asked me like any triggers that I have, and I told her I can't really handle blood, and we went from there. So we'll get to that one last. But of my physical TBR, she picked Invisible Monsters by Chuck Palahniuk, and I have the remix edition, which is apparently, from what I'm gathering, I picked this up because of Kayla from Books and Lala. This book was, and he wanted it to be this version where like you read it, and then at the end of the chapter it says now jump to page 9 or chapter 19, for it to not really be read in order. And when it originally came out, they didn't think that would sell well, so they printed it normal, and then they came out with the remix edition. So this says, injected with new material and a topsy-turvy structure, this revised director's cut, turning the daring satire on beauty and fashion industry into an even more wild reading experience filled with Chuck Palahniuk's original vision of this novel. On this thrill, we meet a fashion model who leads a charmed life until a sudden accident, leaving her disfigured and unable to speak. Enter Brandy Alexander, Queen Supreme, who will teach her that nothing ever is quite what it seems. And this is, I think, the author of Fight Club. So, and then we have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is a YA fantasy. I do have both books. I got them gifted to me for Christmas. But this one says, after centuries of sleep, the gods are waning or wearing again. But 18-year-old Iris Winnow just wants to hold her family together. Her mother is suffering from addiction, and her brother is missing from the front lines. Her best bet is to win the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. To combat her worries, Iris writes letters to her brother and slips them beneath her wardrobe, where they vanish into the hands of Roman Kit, her cold and handsome rival at the paper. When he anonymously writes Iris back, the two of them forge a connection that will follow Iris all the way to the front lines of battle for her brother, the fate of mankind, and love. Divine Rivals is an epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled power of love. I don't love enemies to lovers, so we will see how that goes. But I can guarantee you I love these both more than this book. Yeah. Yep. That's what she picked. Every book in the world, and she picked Priest by Sierra Simone. The text started with, so, how do you feel about Catholicism? And I was like, so you're picking Priest by Sierra Simone. Nice. Do you hate me? And she was just like, hee hee hee. So, yeah, this is a dark, smutty romance. There's something to do with holy water, and I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm actually scared. And I was able to get all of these. This one I will probably read physically, but I was able to get the remix edition on Audible, but I don't know that it'll be the best experience, so I'm probably going to read that physically, but I already have the other 2 on Audible, so let's go. Alright guys, I didn't start with either of these books. I thought it's best to just get the worst one out of the way. You know what I mean? So we've started this bullshit. Priest by Sierra Simone. And I'm 42% in, and I'm very glad that I will be finishing it tomorrow and never have to think about it again. Ugh. In this book, we have Tyler. He is the priest, and we have our girl. I don't know her name. Let's find out. Actually, I've decided I don't care. Oh, actually, I know. It's Poppy, because that's my new Daggerheart character name, and now it's making me not live, laugh, love that. So, Poppy comes from, this book is spice before plot, so this plot is very pointless. But Poppy comes from, like, a well-to-do, like, preppy white family, and she went to, like, some Dartmouth or some Ivy League school, and she's basically, in her family's eyes, throwing her life away. I don't think that. Girl, do what you want to do. I don't give a shit. But she's wanted to go to Juilliard, and so now she's working at a club dancing because she'd rather dance in any way, shape, or form than do whatever she went to school for. So she decides she's going to go confess to a confession at the Catholic Church to this hot priest named Tyler about all of her sins because she's such a bad girl. Ugh. And then they start fucking, like, immediately. And that's where I'm at. And it's bad. It's not good. And I don't like it. And it's gonna be 1 star. And, you know, you win some, you lose some. Okay, guys, we've finished Priest. We have. It's a different day. I'm wearing the same sweatshirt because I'm a cold girl. And it was 1 star. Like, there's really nothing further to say about it other than it sucked. In many ways. It was not good. It was like more spice than plot, but then still wanted to be a love story. And I feel like either be erotica or be a love story. It was just bad. I think we're probably going to read this book next, Invisible Monsters. She also told me that there is a Panic at the Disco song based on this book. So, that's that. But this is what we're going to get up to next. Okay. Alrighty now. I should have come halfway through and talked to you guys about Divine Rivals, but I didn't. I really just did not. But, so that being said, we're going to start with, I gave this 4 stars, which I am slightly, there we go, which I'm slightly shocked by because I honestly did not think I was going to like this. The beginning, like the first time. Oh my god, that's so cute. What a fun surprise. Anywho, the beginning really did not feel connected to this book at all, and I was like, oh god, I'm gonna hate this. But no, I ended up really enjoying it. So when you look on Goodreads, like the top genres is fiction and fantasy. For me, personally, this book felt mostly magical realism and historical fiction. Those are both on there as tags. They're just not like the top ones. And to me, that's literally what this felt like. There was some fantastical element. There's a war going on. And the war is about, there's like stuff to do with gods and stuff like that. But honestly, that felt like such a small part of the plot that I couldn't really tell you anything about it. Basically, we have our main character, Iris, and she and her mom and brother live together. Her mom is an alcoholic, they have no money, and her brother goes off to war to fight in this battle. And Iris is left home with her mom. Iris is working for the Gazette, I believe is what it's called, the Oath Gazette. And she's a columnist writing obituaries, and she hates her job. She's trying to get this better position at the company. She's in competition with this guy named Kit, and so on and so forth. Her mom ends up, like, just, she and her mom are not getting along. She does not get the position, and she ends up going off to war. Meanwhile, in the, like, before she leaves to go to, like, pause. I'm not explaining this right. Basically, they're, like, they're both vying for this same position. She also has this typewriter that was her grandmother's, and she's been writing letters to her brother while he's at war, basically explaining, like, how everything is going horribly at home. And she can't mail them to him because she doesn't know where he is. He was supposed to write her, and he has not written her, and she's worried. So she writes these letters, and she puts them in her wardrobe, and then one day they just, like, disappear. And somebody starts writing back. And lo and behold, it is the guy Kit that she works with. There's a reason why their typewriters are connected like this. You learn it in the story. I'm not going to tell you. And then she ends up quitting and deciding to go, like, what's the word? Like, report on what's going on in the war. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. Way better than Priest. Oh my god. Much better pick. I actually don't think Shanna would like this. She picked this because she said she kind of had some interest in reading it, and I honestly don't think she'd like it, but I did, and I'm glad I have the second one. And I'm excited to continue this series. Okay, friends. I am choosing to just DNF this book. I've tried. I've been trying to get into it. I've reread the first chapter so many times. I don't get it. I'm getting the sense that this is going to be a very, like, direct to reader, breaking the fourth wall. Because it's like, you first jump to chapter 41, and then you jump to chapter 1. And in chapter 1, it's like, don't expect this to be the kind of story that goes. And then, and then, and then. Don't look for a contents page. Dot, 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 dot. Jump to page whatever, then jump back. This will be a, like... I don't like that, like, direct-to-reader type of writing style, and I thought that I would like the, like, skipping around situation, but I realized I actually hate that, because then I don't know how far I am into the story, and that also is kind of starting to, like, the idea of that, I hated it. And, like, I have hundreds of unread books, and I don't want to read this. I got it for, like, $6 at the used bookstore. I will put it in a little free library, and it'll go to somebody else, because I don't want to read it. It does not interest me. I tried, but I'm trying to be better at DNFing. My average rating for the year has not been very good, and I don't think that that book is going to be rated very high, so we're just going to call it there, and that is the end of this video. So, Miss Shanna, she is my longest friend other than my sister. Shanna and I have been friends since we were 4, so... and we're about to be 30. So, what's that? 26 years of friendship, and I got a DNF, a 1 star, and a 4 star. You know, maybe she's just the one who feels the most comfortable fucking me over. Because that's kind of how this video has gone. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!